Hi, my name is Kelsey and I'm a teaching artist in the PACE Art Program, an arts integration program of the Acadiana Center for the Arts and the Lafayette Parish school system in Lafayette, Louisiana. Today we're going to be learning about forms of land and water, how they're created, and how they move using non-locomotor and locomotor movement at different speeds. All you need is your body and lots of space. We are going to start with a warm-up, so we're going to just start moving really slow. I'm going to start with my head moving side to side, moving really slow. And then squeeze your shoulders next and drop them down. Squeeze at the top and drop. Squeeze and drop. Now just slowly start to roll your shoulders back. And then we're going to move them forward. Very good. Now I'm going to just sway side to side. I'm going to reach down and touch my toes. And then I'm going to reach up really tall. And I'm going to reach up, touch my toes. And reach up really tall. Now I want to talk to you about non-locomotor movement. This is movement that you do staying in one place. So the first word I'm looking at is reaching. I can move and reach any way I want, and I'm staying in one place. And I don't just have to reach with my arms. Try reaching your elbows side to side. You can reach your elbows to the ceiling. You can reach your hips to the side or this side. You can reach your toes to the side. You can reach your tongue to the ceiling. You can reach with any of your body parts, and all of this is staying in one place. That means non-locomotor movement. I can also sway. I can sway just my head side to side. I can sway my shoulders. I can sway my hips side to side. You could sway your knees or your arms. And all of this you can do in one place. I can bounce my head, bounce your shoulders, bounce your knees. You could bounce your heels off the ground. Next, you could wiggle in one place. Wiggle your head, wiggle your shoulders, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your hips, wiggle your knees, and you can wiggle just your toes. Next, I could just melt in one place. Melt all the way to the floor. Really slow. Or I could grow really slow till I'm all the way standing. All of these are non-locomotor movement. Moves that you can do in one place. Next, we're going to move on to locomotor movement. This is movement that takes me from one place to somewhere else. The one you're probably most familiar with is walking. And I can walk like this. Or if I'm walking really fast, I could tiptoe really slow. You could tiptoe really fast. I could skip one foot then the other. Or I can skip really fast. I can march moving. I could march slow. All of these are locomotor movements. Things that take you from one place to a new place. Now that we know the difference between non-locomotor movement, movement that stays in one place, and locomotor movement, movement that takes me from one place to a new place, we're going to go ahead and talk about what we're learning today. So first, I want to look at forms of water. Now, for today, I'm looking at just 3 forms of water. The first one is a waterfall. So I kind of want to look at maybe how that moves, specifically in one place. If my head is a waterfall, it might look something like this. If my shoulders were a waterfall, you could do something like this. If I wanted to make both arms a waterfall, I could get a little more creative and maybe do something like this. If my whole body is a waterfall, I could do something like this. Now, to add to that, maybe we come from the back. So in a waterfall, it's coming over the edge of something and straight down. So let's make this a little more interesting. If my head was that waterfall, it could move like this. You could move your shoulders like this, your arms like this. My whole body could move like this. And that's our first water form. Next, we are looking at the ocean. The ocean is interesting because these waves we could look at being in one place or they could move. So if I have waves just in my hands, they could be really slow waves like this. Or you could make them really fast waves. If they were your shoulders, you could move your waves slow like this. Or fast waves. If your whole body was a wave, you could move slowly like this. Or really fast waves. Now, I could put these waves in my whole body. So first I'm going to start looking at me from the side. We're going to do slow waves. So it could come up like this and back like this. Move slowly. Or if you want to do really fast waves, I might do this and back and forward and back. If I wanted to add some arms, I could move like this. Slow forward and slowly back. Move slowly forward and slowly back. Or really fast waves, forward and back, forward and back. And the last one we're going to look at today is a river. So a river is moving always in one direction. So let's say I start my river far away over here, and then I want to move my river really slow. So my winding river is moving forward really slow. But we can always make that more interesting. Let's say my river is creeping forward. You can creep down this winding river. Or maybe my river is moving really fast, so it looks like this. Or maybe my river looks more like a snake, so I can move slowly like this. And all of these are forms of water that you can find anywhere in the world. So we're going to move on to different forms of land. Again, we're looking at just 3 today. So the first one I want to talk to you about is a sinkhole. Now you may not have seen a sinkhole yet, so I brought this picture. So this is the sinkhole. So we kind of have this regular land around here, and then it just falls into the ground or into the earth. This is a sinkhole. So, looking at that from a movement perspective could be very interesting. I am the earth that is about to fall in at any moment, so I could be really still. And then maybe slow motion start to crumble into the ground or into the earth. Now, obviously, we could do this way faster, which could be more interesting if I'm really still. And then all of a sudden, the earth shifts and I fall into the earth. It might look something like this. And you can try that a couple of times, as it is very exciting. Now, if just my arm is the earth or is this sinkhole, it could be really still. And then maybe it falls in slowly. Or you can try it again really fast. If maybe just my head is the part of the earth that is moving, it starts really still, and then it could fall in slowly. Or we can do this at a quicker speed. Next, we are going to be looking at a volcano. Now, a volcano is interesting because in and of itself, it has two different speeds that it moves at. Initially, the explosion is really fast, and then as the lava lands on the side, it moves really slow. So with just my arms, a volcano could move like this. It explodes up fast, and then as it lands on the side of the volcano, that lava moves at a slower speed. As it cools, it slows down even more, until eventually that lava gets hard and becomes the rocks that you might see now. So again, with my arms, it might explode up, land on the side of the volcano, and slide down really slowly. Now I could use my whole body and add even more movement to this. I'm going to start down here. And then we're going to explode up like a volcano and slowly move down like the lava slides down. So here we go. And the volcano explodes and then slowly moves down the sides of the volcano. Now, just for fun, we're going to make this really small. If I use just my hands and my fingers to show what this volcano looks like, it's going to explode up like this. And then the lava's going to slide down the sides. Very nice. And the last one we're looking at is the mountain. Now, you might be thinking, but mountains don't move. But they do. A long time ago, we got the mountains that we have now. So it took some time for them to get there, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's say I'm a growing mountain, if you can imagine it. I would start slow like this. And I'm going to come up really slow. It took a long time for that mountain to get there. But what if we could fast forward through those mountains growing? It might look like this, right? Now, we have all of these things, but we need to know, how did they get there? Now that we have all of these landforms and forms of water, let's talk some more about how they got there. Well, it's because the Earth is moving all the time. That's possible because of these layers we have on the Earth. If you check out this picture here, all of this stuff is what causes these movements, which is really cool and exciting. So that's why sometimes it takes a very long time for things to get the way they are. As you can imagine, those mountains took forever, and the oceans were changing as all of these things were moving and shifting around because of these layers. So, for example, your waterfall, some part of the Earth had to shift and move for that cliff to be created that causes the water to fall down. So, if it was moving really slow like this, those things are shifting around. Imagine these giant plates of the Earth that are moving really slow, and sometimes they separate. They might move apart like this, or they could crash together, which could look like this. And here's our waterfall. Or if they're separating, moving apart really slow, you can put your hands together like this. They separate, and then your river comes through. Again, we have these plates that move apart really slow, so your river can come on through. And those oceans probably changed shapes a lot over all of that time that things were moving and shifting around. So your waves could be moving in different directions, like this. Maybe this way, or this way. Now for those landforms, like sinkholes, that's because things are moving and separating, and all of a sudden they just fall in. Remember our sinkhole? Or our mountain. And as these plates are coming together and crashing, we get our mountain and our volcano. As all of this moving stuff underneath gets really hot, that's what makes it come up from underneath and explode open. So that's how some of these things got here and how they move. We'll be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for kindergarten, first, and second grades, each tied to the academic curriculum. Some lessons will be visual arts and some in creative movement, so be sure to come back and make art with us tomorrow. If you're interested in supporting programs like this, you can donate to the Acadiana Center for the Arts, the nonprofit who manages the PACE program, using the link in the description. Help keep our teaching artists working, share our videos, and keep making art.